If your wife is completely checked out right now, this video is for you. She's gone cold. Maybe she's twisting your words. Maybe she won't even look at you anymore. And here's what you need to understand. This isn't happening because she's trying to punish you. This is happening because safety is gone. And I'm about to show you the exact 6-step process to rebuild safety without chasing, without begging, and without making it worse. I'm Noah Allen, the creator of The Heroic Husband and the Emotional Layering Protocol. I've helped high-performing men save their marriages when their wives have emotionally checked out. If she's giving you the silent treatment, if she's shutting down every conversation, if she's making you feel invisible, I've been exactly where you're at. And I've helped hundreds of men turn this around using a strategic masculine leadership approach that rebuilds trust from the ground up. This isn't about fixing her. This is about leading the relationship back to safety. So stick with me to the end, because what I'm about to share goes way beyond mindset. This is the tactical playbook that actually works. So let me start with something that might be hard to hear. When your wife shuts you out, that's not a character problem. That's a self-preservation. Think about it like this. When you're standing next to a fire, your instinct isn't to jump in. Your instinct is to protect yourself. That's exactly what she's doing right now. She's protecting herself because somewhere along the way, you created an environment where opening up doesn't feel safe anymore. And here's the part most men miss. You've been doing the exact same thing. You just don't see it yet. Picture a high-performing executive. Let's call him James. James built a 7-figure business, led a team of 20 people, could negotiate million-dollar deals without flinching. But when his wife would emotionally withdraw, he'd panic. He'd chase her down, demand she talk to him. We need to fix this right now. And every single time, she'd shut down even more. Well, it's because she didn't feel safe. And James was the one destroying that safety by reacting instead of leading. Now, most advice will tell you to set boundaries, call her out, stand your ground. But here's the truth. When you fight fire with fire, you destroy everything. So let me explain why this shutdown happens in the first place. When safety degrades in your relationship, people go into survival mode. And survival mode shows up in 2 ways. 1, she shuts down completely. That's emotional stonewalling. And 2, she starts to twist your words, blame you, making you the problem. That's active self-preservation. Both are just different versions of the same thing. I don't feel safe, so I'm protecting myself. So what creates this lack of safety? Well, it comes down to what we call 3 bleeding points. These are core wounds in your relationship that haven't healed. Think of it like death by 1,000 cuts. Some cuts are big, some are small, but they all bleed. And if you don't diagnose which bleeding point you're dealing with, you can't stop the bleeding. So bleeding point number 1 is lack of safety and trust. Now here's something critical. Safety and trust are one and the same. When safety is gone, trust is gone. She doesn't feel emotionally safe opening up because every time she has in the past, you've used it against her or reacted poorly. So she learned to shut down. When you rebuild safety through consistent leadership, you create what we call as a tribe of trust. And that happens through back and forth conversation where she sees that your word is backed by action. A lot of men hear me say, your word is everything, and they just focus on the words. They think if they say it correctly, it'll land. What they don't see is that action behind the words are what actually support the word. It's the perfect yin and yang. You can say all the right things, but if your actions don't match, there's no trust. And without trust, there's no safety. In masculine leadership, your word is only as powerful as the action behind it. That's why being passive is the worst thing that you can do. Your word backed by action. That's what rebuilds the tribe of trust. Bleeding point number 2 is lack of ability. The problem feels so layered, so complex, that she doesn't even know where to start. When ability is gone, avoidance takes over. This is where you need to look at the whole forest, not just the tree she's pointing at. See, women in their feminine are usually talking about the symptoms of the overall problem. Your job is to find the deeper wound, the deeper bleeding. Bleeding point number 3 is lack of space. There's so much resentment buildup that being around you feels draining instead of energizing. The nest has become a cage. And when space is gone, polarity is gone. You start to depolarize. Sometimes she mothers you. Sometimes you father her. And when that happens, the masculine and feminine charge that creates attraction, well, completely disappears. Now, here's the key. If you don't identify which bleeding point you're dealing with, you can't fix it. Think of it like a car. If your check engine light is on, you don't just ignore it and hope things get better. You diagnose the exact problem. Is it the transmission, the engine, or spark plugs? Same thing here. You need to know which bleeding point is causing the shutdown so you can address it with precision. Look, I know this feels heavy, and if you're tired of guessing and you want a clear plan to turn this around, I want to invite you to book a call with my team. We'll walk you through the heroic husband method step by step. The same emotional layering protocol that's helped men rebuild safety, restore trust, and reignite desire, even when their wives said it was over. You'll find that link in the description below, because this doesn't have to end the way it's heading. You just need the right strategy. All right, so let's talk about what not to do when she shuts you out, because most men make the same mistake. They fight back, they get defensive, they prove their point. They say things like, well, it's not my fault. What did you do? What about what you did? And every time you do that, you're creating another bleeding point. Picture this. Your wife comes home. You want to talk about something important. The second you bring it up, she goes cold. She shuts down. And then you get frustrated. You push harder. Why do you always avoid me? We need to talk about this. And now what happens? Well, she shuts down even more. Why? It's because you just confirmed the story in her head. That talking to you isn't safe. When you react with anger, when you chase her down for answers, when you blame her back, you're layering problems on top of problems. You're adding more cuts to the death by 1,000 cuts. And eventually the situation gets so tangled that neither of you knows where it started. That's when you hear yourself say, I don't even know what's wrong anymore. It's just everything. Here's the truth. You can't rebuild trust using the same approach that destroyed it. So if fighting fire with fire hasn't worked, it's time to lead differently. And that's exactly what I'm about to show you. All right, so here's the process. This is what I teach inside the heroic husband method. And this is what actually rebuilds safety. Step 1, you have to pivot away from the conversation. The moment you sense her shutting down, drop the topic completely. Don't double down. Don't push harder. Just pivot. This is a pattern interrupt. And it's the first step in changing the dynamic. Most men do the opposite. They try to force the conversation. But that only confirms her fear that you're not safe. So you pivot. Step 2 is identify which bleeding point you're dealing with. Now ask yourself, is this a lack of safety or trust? Is it a lack of ability? Is it a lack of space? Don't guess. Really think about it. If she's shutting down, why? What pattern have you created that makes her feel unsafe to open up? If she's blaming you for everything, what is she protecting? This is where you have to get out of your own head and into hers. I had a client, we'll call him Eric. His wife would shut down every time he tried to talk about the future. She kept pushing. He kept pushing. We need a plan. We need to talk. And she shut down even more. When we dug deeper, we realized it wasn't about the conversation. It was that every time they planned something, Eric would change his mind 2 weeks later. So she stopped believing his word meant anything. It wasn't a lack of interest. It was a lack of trust. His word wasn't backed by action. Step 3 is find the thing behind the thing. Now go deeper. What's the story running in her head? What combination of past experiences, current fears, and future doubts would make her go into self-preservation mode? This is where you look at the whole forest, not just the tree that she's pointing at. Women in their feminine are usually talking about the same symptom of a deeper wound. Your job is to find the deeper bleeding. Don't zoom in so far on the tree that you missed the forest. And don't just talk about easy things like business items, logistics, kids. That's where it becomes mundane. That's where she starts feeling like she's mothering you and you're fathering her. Those are bad dynamics because they kill polarity. When you act in a platonic manner, that's the charge you bring in the relationship. And when there's no polarity, there's no attraction. So you have to go deeper than the surface level. Step 4 is emotionally feel it. Don't just understand it logically. Feel it. Imagine yourself in her position. Picture the moment that led to this. The times you got angry when she was vulnerable. The times you promised to change, but you didn't follow through. The times that you made her feel like she was the problem. I want you to feel that. Because if you can't feel it, you can't lead through it. This is what we call true active listening. Not just her words, but the energy behind them. You're calling the energy, not just the words. Step 5 is paraphrase it back to her using what I call the signal fire framework. And once you felt it, paraphrase it back to her. Not in a fake, prescripted way, but genuine. See, before anyone follows a leader, they need to feel seen, heard, and understood. Not talked at or fixed. That's the signal fire. You're lighting the signal that says, I see you, I hear you, I understand you. Here's what it might sound like. Hey, I've been thinking about why you don't want to talk right now. And then I get it. In the past, when you've opened up to me, like really opened up, I didn't handle it well. I got defensive. I got angry. I used what you said against you later. And if I were in your shoes, I wouldn't want to talk to me either. I'd shut down too. So I understand why you're doing this, and I'm not upset about it. That is masculine leadership. That's you flipping the script from blame to understanding. And when you do this, something powerful happens. She expects you to fight back. She expects you to defend yourself. But instead, you lead with empathy. You validate her experience without making excuses, and that creates safety. And you can even show her the old way versus the new way. You say something like, in the past, I would have argued here and tried to convince you. I'm not doing that. I just want to understand. This shows her that you're not the same man who created the bleeding in the first place. Step 6 is what I call planting a seed. And this one would be offering an invitation. Once you paraphrase, you can offer the next step. But, and this is critical, it's an invitation, not a demand. This is what we call planting a seed. You're planting seeds of change, seeds of hope, seeds of a new forward. I know this feels overwhelming, and I'm not saying we have to solve everything today, but if you're open to it, maybe we could just start somewhere. Even if it's messy, even if it doesn't come out perfect, just gonna listen. No judgment, no fixing, just listening. What do you think? Notice that language. Notice the tone. If you're open to it, what do you think? You're giving her room to say no, because when you impose, you destroy safety. But when you invite, you create space. And when there's space, the feminine can breathe. Now, if she's defensive, defer. Don't push. Just say something like, I won't push details right now. Let's revisit this when you're ready. I'll be here. That shows you that you're not chasing. You're not forcing. You're just creating the environment where safety can return. Now, I want to be real with you. These 6 steps work, but they require something deeper. You can't just fake empathy. You can't just go through the motions. You have to actually shift internally. That means building what we call the Man of Steel mindset. You have to become the grounding lightning rod when her energy is chaotic, like the ocean. You have to be the rock in the relationship, the one holding everything up on your shoulders. See, governments are created by societies. Societies are created by communities. Communities are created by families. And families are created by a mother and a father, a husband and wife. At the base, holding it all up is the man. That's why you can't put down your power and your responsibility in this relationship. This is where you dive in and go head first. And I'm not going to lie to you. The first time you try this, it's going to feel slow. It's going to feel awkward. But over time, it becomes your default. Think about the first time you drove a car. You were white-knuckling the steering wheel, checking every mirror, overthinking every turn. But after a while, it became second nature. You don't think about it, you just do. That's what this process becomes when you commit to it. It becomes who you are. And here's something else you need to understand. Trust rebuilds kind of like a hockey stick. It feels flat. Then suddenly, boom, everything changes all at once. It's kind of like popcorn in that aspect. A couple kernels here, a couple kernels there, then all of a sudden the popcorn's all popping all at once. Your wife is quietly observing every day, your tone, your patience, your energy. She's hyper aware of the little details that you probably don't even notice. That's just part of her nature because of that deep need for emotional safety and control over her environment. It is evolutionary psychology and biology. Her nesting grounds are the house and her routine. So she's watching, she's seeing. And that means you have more opportunity to show her when she finally realizes you're not reacting the way you used to. When she feels your calm instead of your chaos, that's when hope returns. I had a client who told me his wife didn't speak to him for 6 weeks. 6 weeks of silence. He did the work. He did all our action steps. He took everything sequentially. He buckled down, doubled down on our process. Then one day she texted him, said, I don't know what changed, but I can feel it. That's the hockey stick moment. And it comes from the men who refuse to quit when it feels hopeless. Think of it like planting a tree. You don't plant a seed today and expect a full tree tomorrow. You water it, you tend to it, you protect it, and for weeks, sometimes months, you see nothing above the ground. But underneath, roots are spreading, foundations are being built, and then one day, you see the first spout break through. That's how trust rebuilds. Invisible progress, then sudden breakthroughs. So here's the bottom line. If your wife is shutting you out, if she's emotionally gone, if she's making you feel invisible, it's not because she's a bad person, it's because safety is gone. And the way you rebuild that isn't by fighting harder, it's by leading smarter. That's what the Hiro Kazuma method is all about. It's the emotional layering protocol, a 3-stage system that teaches you how to heal the bleeding points, shift the dynamic, and restore the bond without chasing or begging. The 3 stages are EHP, the emotional healing process, where you stop the bleeding and rebuild safety, ESP, which is the emotional shifting process, where you turn the bad memories into good ones and restore trust through consistent action, and EBP, which is the emotional bonding process, where you reignite desire and build legacy in the marriage. And I mean not just kind of desire, I mean true, genuine, burning, wanting, and desire. If you're ready to stop guessing and start leading, book a call with my team. We'll show you exactly how to apply this in your situation. You'll find the link in that description below. Because you didn't build your business by guessing, you built it with strategy. Your marriage deserves the same level of precision, so let's build that strategy together. I'll see you in the next video.